The hole was real. The drilling was real. But the sound. In the dead of winter, deep in the Soviet Arctic, scientists lowered a microphone into the world's deepest borehole, and what they claimed to hear changed everything. Was it seismic noise? A hoax? Or something, not meant to be heard? Not all legends are born in ancient times. Some begin with static on a radio, and a whisper no one can explain. In the early 1990s, as the Iron Curtain fell and the Soviet Union fractured into memory, so too did many of its secrets begin to spill into the light. Among the countless documents, abandoned facilities, and half-buried truths, one mystery refused to die: the rumor that Soviet scientists had drilled into hell. It was a wild claim. Ridiculous, even. But like all the best legends, it started with a sliver of truth, twisted by time, media, and human imagination. This is the story of how a half-remembered experiment turned into a global myth, and how the world came to believe that voices were crying out from beneath the earth. The Spark, a tabloid tale that caught fire. The first mainstream mention of the "well to hell" legend appeared in the U.S. around 1989, in a Christian newsletter called Trinitarian Bible Society's quarterly report. It referenced a translated letter from a Finnish missionary named Dr. Azakov, who claimed to have spoken with Soviet scientists. The letter said, "The information we are gathering is so surprising, that we are sincerely afraid of what we might find down there. The last discovery was shocking. Heat-resistant microphones lowered into the hole picked up what sounded like the screams of the damned. This was all it took." Soon after, the Weekly World News, a tabloid infamous for outlandish headlines, ran with the story under the banner, "Scientists Drill into Hell." By 1990, American late-night radio shows like Coast to Coast AM, hosted by Art Bell, had picked up the story.
Every additional meter required
Bell
a
even
battle
claimed to have
against the
received
earth
a copy
itself.
of the alleged audio recording, the infamous "Screams from Hell." The clip was short, faint, but unmistakable. Muffled cries. Agonizing wails. A wall of tormented voices rising from deep beneath the earth. Some believed it instantly. Others called it a prank. But the recording spread like wildfire. Uploaded, shared, copied, and believed. Suddenly, science and superstition collided on the world stage. The recording, fact or fabrication? Skeptics quickly pointed out flaws. For starters, no official Soviet documents ever mentioned microphones being used at the Kola site for audio purposes. The intense heat and pressure at those depths would likely destroy any conventional equipment. Furthermore, the alleged Dr. Azakov never existed in Soviet academic records. Many now believe the letter originated from a Christian satirical magazine in Finland, meant as a moral parable, not a real report. And yet, the audio itself still haunts. In 2002, a journalist traced the origin of the scream recording to a 1980s horror film. The sound effects were taken, manipulated, and looped to create the illusion of thousands of tortured souls. Still, even after it was debunked, millions continued to believe. Why? Because the legend had already tapped into something deeper than facts. It tapped into fear. The human need to believe. Psychologists suggest that the "well to hell" story resonated because it played on ancient archetypes: the forbidden descent, the gate to the underworld, the punishment beneath. Across cultures, we find similar stories. In Greek mythology, Hades was reached through deep caves and chasms. In Norse legends, Helheim lay beneath Yggdrasil's roots. Even in Buddhist cosmology, there are multiple
Soviet
hells,
scientists
all
drilled the
beneath the
deepest
earth.
hole to the Earth's core
The Kola
in
Borehole,
1970,
in its cold,
they expected to
mechanical
find
descent
solid
into
rock.
the unknown,
What they
became a
actually
modern myth,
found
a
was
20th
a
century
horrifying
Tower of
descent
Babel,
into
where
the
science
unknown.
dared to reach into
As they
realms it
descended
wasn't meant to
deeper
touch.
and deeper into the abyss,
For many, the
strange
well to
things
hell
began
wasn't
to
just
happen.
about geology
At
or radio
first,
waves.
the drilling produced strange
It was a
sounds,
warning.
then a foul smell
A symbol
like
of
rotten
mankind
eggs.
digging too deep,
And as they
both
reached
literally
a depth
and
of 12
spiritually.
kilometers, the
What the
temperature
Kola
rose to
scientists
18
really
degrees
found.
Celsius.
Lost
At
in
this
all the
point,
noise was the
everyone
actual
on the
science,
team was sure
far
they had
stranger and
reached
more
hell,
fascinating
but
than
they
the
didn't
myth.
find demons or sulfur
Kola
or
team
screams in
discovered,
the darkness.
Granite,
Instead,
where they had
they
expected
found
basalt,
granite, which
overturning
shouldn't have
prior
been there.
assumptions about the Earth's
They found
crust.
hydrogen gas
Hydrogen gas seeping from cracks, suggesting unknown chemical reactions far below.
The surface.
Microfossils of plankton
They
at
even
depths
found
no one thought
microfossils
life
of
could exist,
plankton,
indicating that the building blocks of life
which
may
shouldn't have
survive
been able
extreme
to survive those
conditions.
conditions.
They didn't find
In the
hell.
end, the Kola
But they
Borehole
did
was
find
one of the
mysteries.
greatest scientific
In
achievements in
interviews,
geology.
former team members
But it's a
expressed
story that has
frustration
been
that tabloids
overshadowed by the
overshadowed
myth.
their real work. One geologist said, "We sought knowledge, not demons. But in the end, it seems the world preferred the demons." The
This
legacy
hole
of
goes
the
to
abyss.
hell. In the 1970s,
After the site shut down in
a team of
1992,
Soviet
the
scientists set
borehole
out
was
to drill
sealed.
the deepest hole in the world.
Nature reclaimed the
They
area.
wanted to understand the Earth's
Buildings
core.
rusted, equipment
What they
vanished,
found was
and the
not of this
Arctic wind
world.
once again
At
ruled the
first,
tundra.
it was just rock.
Today,
But then
only
they
a
had
metal
layer
disc
that
marks the
shouldn't have
spot,
been there.
a lid bolted into the
Fossils,
earth, surrounded
tiny
by overgrown
organisms called
grass and
plankton had
silence.
been embedded in layers
But on the
over 2
internet,
billion
the
years
legend
ago.
lives on.
How could life forms
YouTube
exist so
videos
deep?
rack up millions of
They
views
also
claiming
found
to
pockets of
reveal
water,
the truth.
not from surface water seeping
Reddit threads
down,
debate what
but
the
from
Soviets
primordial
really
water
heard.
trapped since the planet
Some still
formed.
believe the screams
We
were
heard
real,
sounds,
and that
one
governments
scientist
are
would
hiding
later
the
say,
truth.
not mechanical,
truth.
not geological.
The Kola Borehole
They
was one of
sounded
the
like
greatest
screams,
scientific
human-like,
achievements in
as if
geology.
thousands of voices were crying
And
out
yet,
from
it
within
is
the earth
remembered not
itself.
for what it proved,
The
but
scientific
for what it might
community
have
was
uncovered.
stunned, but the world
Final
wasn't
thought
listening.
echoes from the
That would
deep.
change with a whisper.
In the end, maybe
According
the
to a
real power of the
sensational
Kola
report,
Borehole story
the team
isn't in the
lowered a
screams or the
heat-resistant
sulfur or
microphone
the
into
rumors
the
of hell.
borehole and recorded
Maybe
the
it's in
sounds
this.
of tectonic plates
That in
moving.
our endless search for
This was
answers,
unlike any
we
water
sometimes
seen
uncover
before.
questions we never meant to ask.
Superheated, under intense pressure,
And maybe,
and
just
chemically
maybe,
unique.
there are
The
places on
sound of
this earth
drilling
where
in
we
the
aren't
late
meant to go.
1980s turned into
If
a
you
legend.
enjoyed this story,
What
don't
they
forget to
allegedly
like,
captured
subscribe,
instead
and turn on
sent chills down their
notifications.
spines.
Part
The
3 is
recording
coming
was
soon,
never
where we
officially
explore
released,
why no one has
but the
dared drill
story
deeper,
spread.
the secret
Some
U.S.
say it's a
projects that try
hoax,
to follow,
while others
and what
believe
modern
it's proof of
science says
hell.
about going beyond the crust.